Hey everybody, this is Professor Jason Snart. I'm your instructor for the summer 5-week term here. We're looking at our, you're looking at that, our English 1102 course. I'm just recording this little video capturing my screen, which is of course our class here. And you'll excuse my voice, I hope. I'm just having the worst allergy, so it makes me sound terrible. But anyway, just a quick hello and maybe a little kind of a walkthrough or just a little heads up for some of the most important parts of our class, at least as we get going here. The first is the announcements area. You'll see is empty as you're looking at it in the video, but of course you'll be watching this in the announcements video. So some little things will change. So if you see something in the video that's not identical to what's in the course as you're actually live looking at it, hopefully not too different, but obviously things will change a little bit, between the video that I'm doing and the actual course that you're looking at. So the course always lands on the announcements page. Make sure you watch these little videos or kind of reminders of due dates and important things for the class. That'll be our major sort of contact point, at least in terms of you entering into the class sort of as a class. So outside of individual communication that we might have. Obviously, the syllabus is just like in a class, except it's not really printable. It's designed for you to look at as far as course objectives. The textbook info is here if you don't have it already. Make sure you're getting the shorter 11th edition. There's numerous editions of the textbook. And of course, we use that right away, which kind of is the other major thing that I wanted to just remind you of, is that in the 5-week format, we're basically taking a 16-week class and condensing it into those 5 weeks. So we move, basically 3 times as fast, which is pretty fast, especially in a writing course where a lot of times we need to space things out. So once we get to the first essay assignment, for example, I don't want you to have to turn that around in 1 or 2 days. So stretching that out, even to just 3 or 4, is almost like giving you, multiple weeks to work on it if it were a 16-week class. So things just get really compressed in this format, which you can see by clicking into the due dates. So make sure you're following along with the due dates. Always be sort of looking forward on these just to see not just what's due right around the corner, but also, a little bit further out, and again, quote unquote, further out. And to get everything in, often we'll have due dates, or units, I should say, due on the same day. So you'll notice that units 1 and 2 are both due basically just a couple of days from now, Thursday, May 29th. Our first essay doesn't actually come until unit 7, which is more or less halfway through the course. So what we try to do is build some skills and kind of scaffold some things through these earlier units. So you're doing much smaller assignments and really building those individual skills to then put into practice when we come to that first essay. And you'll notice that the turnaround time from this, let's say Monday to Friday, is actually like an eternity in our 5-week format. So you have lots of time, relatively speaking, to be working on that. All right, so the due dates tab is your best friend. I have set up the course calendar, and mine will look a little bit different than yours. But of course, you'll see, all of your classes, including this one, and the due dates listed here. If you do happen to notice a due date that's listed, let's say, in the due dates tab that doesn't align with the course calendar, those two aren't automatically linked. So I might have just put a date in wrong or changed one but not the other. So if you see something that's not coordinating properly, let me know right away and I'll make sure I change that. So in addition to the due dates, of course, the units themselves is where all the course content is. It's laid out in what I hope is a pretty transparent way, easy to navigate. Obviously, you're clicking into each unit and then pretty much just doing the work in that unit. The objectives are very informally laid out here. And the only thing that I really caution students is that in an effort to make, let's say, this page not endlessly long where you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, I've packed certain things into subfolders. So you might be in Unit 1 creating your student homepage, and you finish that up and think, okay, I've finished everything in Unit 1, but of course you're just in that subfolder, which means you want to make sure you do everything in that unit, not just that one thing. So there's a couple of assignments here, a little bit duplicating each other in terms of introducing yourself, but it's also nice to just use this discussion board feature in a fairly informal, kind of low stakes sort of way, especially if you're not familiar with using a discussion board or even just using one in Blackboard. I recently took a course myself, a professional development course that used Canvas, which is a different learning system, and it took me a while to get used to, just where all the buttons were and what to press to make it do what and all that kind of stuff. So, and then there's a little questionnaire just asking about your sort of feelings about the class that you're about to take, your understanding of what it's going to involve and all that kind of thing. Also a good opportunity to express any concerns that you might have, although you can also do that by just contacting me directly. So you can give me a phone call. Email is by far the best. Contacting me by Skype is a great idea. I'm always, when I'm here, I'm logged in, so you'll see me online and you can just call me through that, video chat, or instant message me if you want. Okay, so units, due dates, sort of in both of these tabs. Everything else is pretty straightforward, I hope. The grading guidelines, the usual stuff, really. Again, lots of folders. I think the payoff or the pros and cons thing is that it keeps each of the areas, pretty manageable in terms of length, but you do end up with a lot of folders. So it's good to use this, what's called the breadcrumbs up here, to remind yourself of where you're at, so you can sort of trace your way back to that top level folder. Okay, so one of the things that you'll encounter immediately in our class is the orientation, including the video, if it loads here, which is a lot of the same stuff that I'm saying here. Some tips on being a successful online learner, including this quiz that I want you to take. And I'll just reiterate, especially in the 5-week format, because things are so condensed, you really just have to stay on top of the work. And I'm try to be really good about, responding immediately to emails or any questions that you might have or anything else like that. So you're not left hanging for, even a day, honestly. If you're not hearing back from me, that's a lot of time. I know that. So make sure that you're staying on top of due dates, reading the units carefully so that you're doing, again, not just kind of like, okay, where's the thing I got to do? Where's the thing I got to do? But actually reading the material so you're learning what you need to learn before taking the quiz or writing the paragraph or doing the discussion board or whatever it happens to be, right? Because you don't want to just zoom to the thing to do and then end up doing it sort of wrong, so you don't get those points. So stay on top of the work, stuff that is common sense but is worth repeating maybe. The other advice that I give, and I don't know who takes it, but I'll keep giving it, is to really, even though this is an online class, and while we have due dates, we don't have a certain time of every day that we have to meet physically, so you're not really accountable in that physical kind of way, like you have to be somewhere at 10 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever it happens to be. But really try to block out a piece of time like that in your schedule. So if you have a day planner or a calendar or however you do it, really sort of block a time out to do your work, and not just one huge block, once a week. Obviously that won't give you enough time, but a couple of blocks throughout the week, just like you would attend a class, and make that online work time. So it's not, I'll do it when I get a chance or once I finish all these other things, because that list of other things always piles up and this work then falls by the wayside and you're sort of scrambling to do it at the last minute. So it's late or it's poorly done and then you fall a bit behind. And again, in the 5-week format, that can really snowball and catch up pretty quickly with you. So stay on top of those due dates. And the last thing, of course, is to be in touch with me right away if you see anything in the course that doesn't work, like a link is broken or doesn't make sense or just anything, right? That kind of communication is really important in our format here. Okay, so welcome to English 1102. I hope you have a good time, I guess. I don't know. but at least feel like you're part of a class community, not just one person sitting at the computer typing away into space somewhere. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, make sure you're in touch with me right away.